In the past 2 sessions, the group looked at ways to catch it early, to notice the thoughts and actions that happen before anger gets out of control. They noted that some thoughts are in the form of pictures in our minds.
What was your picture, Rob?
I saw 10 up and 10 down.
Now that's real. That's taking it all the way there. Dolores?
I could just see him happy
Come on.
with a blonde, with big breasts, that's giggling, having a good time. Something that we don't do.
Pictures in our mind feed the actions that can lead to aggression.
I had one thought, and then I thought something else, and then I thought something else, and then
pictures?
yeah, and it just continued, and it snowballed. So I waited for her in the house until she got home, and as soon as she walked in, I attacked her.
The only way to reduce jealousy is not to do the jealous act. See, the more you hit caller ID, the more you peep out the window, the more you follow somebody, the more your jealousy increases. How do you decrease it? You decrease it by what? Stopping the act.
Next, the group looked at another way to catch it early. Notice what happens in your body as anger begins. When the feeling of anger grows, adrenaline rushes in, and the body changes in major ways. If we learn to notice these changes before it's too late, we gain time. We can do something different.
Everybody gets something. I get a tingly thing, call that butterflies. You get it in your chest, call that butterflies. You have it down here and it comes up and you get a headache, we call that butterflies. That thing that you call butterflies, whatever it is with you, is where you gotta catch it. And you have a choice at that point.
When you realize you're about to lose control, what can you do? Breathe. Think about the people you love. Think about what you could lose. Talk to someone. In the final sessions, the group will consider 3 skills for managing anger. Listen, reflect what you hear, and be assertive, not aggressive. These skills can give us more power to keep things cool. In this session, the group considered new skills, other ways to manage anger. Dr. Michael Solomon came in to assist with role play. He's been doing this work for 30 years.
You've got a flashpoint inside of you. You've got a button that gets pushed and erupts. And the question is, how can you save yourself from that eruption?
The group set up a role play, a situation that could easily trigger anger. A wife hearing criticism from her husband. Her challenge? Before you speak, listen. Listen until he finishes.
How do you expect me to take care of 5 kids, work, and take care of the house?
My mother does
I'm not your mother. I'm not your mother, okay? Your mother keeps the house like a fucking hotel. I'm not her.
No one likes to hear criticism. When Gloria starts to defend herself and grow angry, James comes in to remind her of another choice.
You're never there for me. When your family calls, you drop everything and you go take care of them.
Listen. Just listen. Just hear what he's saying. Just listen.
I don't know why I stick around. You're nothing like my mother.
Listen. Don't take it personally.
How am I supposed to take it? When I'm hurting like that, I want to hurt back.
Right.
And I do.
Right.
I do. I say ugly things that I don't mean or that I regret later. Or maybe I do mean them because I say them. But I regret it, you know. But all I want him to do is feel the same thing I'm feeling right then and there. I want him to be hurting too.
Right.
Later, the group considers how hard it is to listen to criticism.
Why can't we hear it without responding? Why can't we hear them all the way out, all the way until they finish? Why is that difficult?
If you criticize me, I'm going to argue with you and try to convince you that you're wrong and I'm right. You know, I just don't want to see it.
Listening to criticism for an angry person is important. But is it easy?
Oh, no.
I rebel. If I don't like it, you know, even if you are right, I'm just not gonna do it or continue to do it just because you don't like it.
When you're angry, you can't hear criticism. It always sounds like a put down. See, when you're angry, and underneath that, it is all that fear, hurt, sadness, and all that other stuff, you can't handle constructive criticism. What's constructive about it? You telling me there's something wrong with me again. I can't hear you. But you have to anyway. Straight out.
How do you keep things cool? One practical skill before you speak is to listen. Take a deep breath and hear what the other person is really saying.
What is the thing or situation that's most difficult for you to hear?
For me, I think the hardest part is to be told that you're an alcoholic or an addict. And to know that you don't have no control of your life no more.
That's heavy.
It's hard. It's hard.
For a long time, my sponsor wouldn't let me say anything to her. She wouldn't let me say anything to her. All I had to do was listen. And when she was done, I had to say thank you. Because the way she put it to me is when you say something, you stop listening. You know, the minute you open your mouth, you're done listening. I don't want you to say anything till I'm done. And then all I want you to say is thank you.
We were having a session at the program that I'm at, and one of the facilitators told me, you know, Rita, you need to, and he refuses to call me by the name that I preferred to be called by, which is Dolores, my middle name. He said, you know, what you need to do, Rita, is you need to take the cotton out of your ears and put it in your mouth and shut up. A few people in the room who kind of seen me snap before, everybody was like, okay, here it comes. And I just let him have it. Right. Who are you to tell me to shut up?
I want to share something with you. If you can develop the ability not to speak when you're hearing something you don't like, you'll grow. There's a direct relationship between your emotional growth and your ability to hear what you don't want to hear without responding. Now, I don't mean hearing it like this. You finish? I don't mean that. Okay, because we can do that. We know how to do that. You gotta be cool like David when you're listening. You see? Let me hold this chair for a minute. Let me see, you gotta be cool like David. No, I'm serious. Look, that's how you listen. Total eye contact.
Why is eye contact important? Especially when we're hearing something we don't like.
I want to look them in the eyes and I want to let them know that they got my attention, that I'm there.
It's also much easier to take in what the other person's saying, even if you don't believe it. There's that eye contact, it's personal.
When you're hearing something you don't like, look the person straight in the eye. That's the first thing you do, especially when you don't like it. Listen close. Don't speak. The more that they say that hurts you, the better for you if you can be silent and hear it until they finish. The skill is to be able to attend to them, to be right with them, and hear it without responding in a negative way.
Step 1 is easy to say and hard to do. Instead of speaking right away, slow down. Take in what the other person is saying. Step 2 of this skill is reflecting. Reflect back what you heard. Mickey explains the skill. After listening, simply say what you heard. Let the person know you understand.
All I'm saying is repeat back what you heard.
That'll calm you down.
That'll calm you down, and it will give you time. Your job is not to make explanations, excuses, anything. It is simply to reflect back what he said. It gives you time to deal with whatever feeling is coming up.
To look at the skills in action, the group tried another role play. Rob was asked to be an employer giving criticism. It's a situation where anger could easily flare. The group takes turns being the employee, using what they've just learned.
You don't want to do your work, but you want to be the boss of everybody else. And I'd like to know what your problem is and why you feel you can do what you want to do and get my money and not do the work I asked you to do.
Things will come up, you'll see.
Hector began by trying to persuade his boss that he would do better.
Not being at my place.
Mickey then demonstrates the reflecting skill. Simply say what you heard.
All right, what I'm hearing you say to me is that the foreman has told you that I'm not doing anything except acting like I want to be the boss, and you don't know why the hell you should pay me for doing that.
Correct.
Others in the group try the reflecting skill.
You know, when you first started off cooking for me, man, you was on top of the money. But lately, you know, all I'm hearing is that you're in the kitchen, man, and you know, you want to turn it into a boxing ring, you know. People are saying you bringing in your personal problems into the kitchen, and I don't need that in my place.
What I'm hearing you say is that when I first came aboard here, you said I was doing a good job, and lately you feel my production has been slipping, that I'm bringing my personal problems into the workplace and it's costing you revenue.
Hot damn Claude is good. Now, Dolores, when you first came aboard, you were showing up to work on time. But lately, you know, you haven't been getting to work till 9 o'clock. And it's not fair for me to ask your coworkers to do their job and yours, and if it continues.
Okay, what I'm hearing you say is that initially when I first came to work, that I was being on time and I was being punctual. But lately I've been coming in really late, and that you're having to have other people come in and take over my responsibilities because I'm not there.
How did it feel? What was it like for you just to say it back the way you heard it?
Very humbling. It humbled me.
You've got a history, as you've told us over and over, of going away and into your anger very quickly, and it's been very hard to hear. Somehow in doing the behavior, just the behavior, that part of her that reacts this way did not come up.
Immediately, if somebody's criticizing me, I'm gonna put up the wall, you know, the defense mode. But in hearing and repeating what he said to me, and hearing myself say it, not so much having someone say it to me, but hearing myself say it. It was like self-talk. It was something that somebody wasn't saying to me, I was saying to myself. You know, yeah, I have been coming in late, and I have been shunning my responsibility. And in saying that myself, it gave it more power. It gave it more honesty and more validity.
I think it's easier to accept when you say back what was said unto you, because you gave it a little marination time. And as you taking it in, or I'll speak in the eye from as I'm taking it in, and taking in everything, not cutting them off, you know, I'm processing, okay, yeah. You know, saying to myself, yeah, I do get down like that. It's like I'm telling him what's wrong with, you know, with me, and it's not that he told me. That's how
And you're
it worked
hearing
for me.
yourself
Yeah.
much easier than you could hear him.
Yeah, and it's easier for me to swallow.
I've also found it that when someone is saying something to me, I immediately start looking at their faults. Like if my husband were to say to me, you know, I'm sick of living with a dope fiend, I would immediately say, well, you got a lot of nerve. How dare you? Instead of even hearing what he said to me, you know, or if he says something about me being late, well, you're always late. You know, I immediately lash back and look at the fault in the person that's giving me the criticism, as opposed to listening, taking it in, and like you said, processing it.
And in the repetition, you hear whatever truth there is for you in saying his words. If it's just coming from him, you can deflect it, you can turn your back on it in all kinds of ways. But when you just say the words, again, two things happen. The initial impulse to explode doesn't happen because you're involved in saying the words. It gives you time. And now what I'm hearing is that it also gives you the opportunity to experience whatever truth there might be for you in what was said.
What he said to her, it might have been something that wasn't true. Was she supposed to stop and correct him? And by the way, that's not true. Or just still repeat it?
Just do the behavior. If it doesn't fit, you don't have to wear it.
You don't have to agree. Just say what you heard.
The humbling comes with hearing those words and experiencing the truth, the validity of them for you. And you can't hear it from the other. You can hear it from yourself.
If there's anything that I've learned in the last 2 days is what just happened here. That's from my heart. If there's anything that I've learned in the last 2 days, is what just happened. Throughout my life, I've always been talked at, and I've always had to defend. That's the source of my anger. That is the source of where my anger comes from. A counselor tried talking to me the other day, told me, Dolores, you need to take the cotton out of your ears and put it in your mouth. And, you know, I have a whole nother outlook on that statement now. An hour or two ago, we were talking about that, and I was like, no, he was wrong. He shouldn't have told me that. He was out of line. You know, he wasn't hearing what I was saying. And the truth of the matter was, I wasn't hearing what he was saying. Once again, Dolores was in defense mode. Period. That was so empowering for me to just humble myself for a minute. You know, just humble yourself, Dolores. You don't always have to walk through life with your guard up. Put your guard down for a second. And instead of walking through life like this all the time, just waiting and expecting somebody to come at me so that I'm not ever really getting the information because I'm too busy, you know, ducking and jiving from it. Just kick back, settle down, be still, and listen. Next time somebody calls me a bad name, I'm gonna say, okay, so what I'm hearing you say is... I'm not gonna jump on them and go, excuse me? That's right. No, what I'm hearing you call me is a bitch. Is that, I mean, if, you know, if I misquoted you, but what I'm hearing is you're calling me a bitch. And instead of lashing out, that is so powerful. I thank you for that. I'm gonna practice that.
Dolores hit it right on the button. It's like, what I learned from that right there is like, when I repeat back to what that person is telling me, I interpret it the way I want to hear it. Because a lot of times when people say something, like Dolores says, I get on the defense and right away I misinterpret the way they talk to me. Because a lot of people talk with different attitudes, or it's the way it comes across, that if I turn around and I was to ask them, is this what you're saying? Is this what you're telling me? And if they say, yeah, I can accept that a lot more because it's to my justifications and it's not the way that I'm interpreting the way he's saying it, is what makes the big difference for me. And it's gonna stop me from getting angry, and it's gonna stop me from getting to that place to where I'm so used to going.
For me, Dolores touched on when she said power. It's given so much power, and I feel now that I feel very empowered by being able to identify everything that happens before we go into a rage, okay? Because then you don't give that other person that power to take you there. Because once you give them that power, whoever it is, you're gone. You're gone. You have lost it completely, and I'm not gonna let you take me there. I'm not gonna let you take me there, you know, because I'm worth more.
In the final session, the group looked at other skills for managing anger, exploring the difference between assertion and aggression.
How many people have been told that they're aggressive? Oh, that's interesting. What they tell you?
That I'm aggressive and I'm pushy.
I was getting into their space.
That I'm over-aggressive and rowdy.
That I'm intimidating and arrogant.
Mean.
How does our body language tell others if we are being aggressive or assertive?
It's really important to see that there's a difference between being aggressive and assertive. Okay? It's two different things. Like a lot of times we're not aware of our body language when it comes to being aggressive. It may be something that I've been doing for so long and I don't know. I had guys come into my office. They'd be over the desk like, look, man, let me tell you. Man, I'm telling you, man, this thing is serious. You know, and my heart, boop, 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 boop. And I'm saying, hey, Freddie. What? I say, hey, man, you're being a little aggressive. No, man, I'm just saying how I feel. He didn't even know. Now, that look, the posturing, how you basically stand. Yep. How you sit when you're talking to somebody. Your eyes, your facial expression, all of that is important. Okay? Now, a lot of times we do that purposely as a power play to either keep people up off you or to keep a certain space between you and somebody. It's different between walking in a room like this Ed, what's going on, baby? How you doing, man? What's shaking? You all right? All right, okay. Okay. Then walking in the room like this. Now, I may be feeling the same exact way, but this is what my face is saying. I'm like this.
First thing I got is, what's this guy's problem? You know, why is he, it seems like, yeah, it seems like you got, mad dog, and you got, you know, some problems.
Your body language.
Your body language, and that's where you had your lip, and you kind of looked all around the ground.
Facial expressions.
Yeah, facial expressions.
Aggressive body language is one way we provoke anger. Another is aggressive speaking. Mickey and the group look at language that is assertive instead of aggressive. Ways of speaking that cool things down instead of heating them up.
There is a part of everybody that wants to be talked to in a way that doesn't provoke the walls, make the walls come up. The best skill I know for doing that is to use the word I. It's as simple as that, rather than you. If I say to you, I'm really angry. I'm really feeling angry. And I don't want to feel that way. I don't want to go off, and I'm starting to have thoughts like, you and I are going to end up in a fight. I don't want that. There is a world of difference between, you're pissing me off right now. Do you hear that? The word you will provoke the defenses of anybody. Anybody.
When we start by saying you, we point the finger of blame. When we start with I, we're saying what we think, feel, or want. No one is blamed.
If you can begin to develop the skill of talking from I rather than you, the contact, the communication, the connection with other people will increase.
To look at the difference, Mickey set up a role play between two brothers, played by Claude and Jojo.
You're a dope fiend, you're irresponsible, you're a bum. You don't work except scrapping, stealing.
How does it feel to be talked to the way he's talking to you? What comes up inside of you when you hear it?
Anger, resentment.
Now, Mickey asked Claude to start every sentence with I instead of you.
I don't understand what has happened to our relationship. I feel that we're slipping away from each other, and I'd like to have a stronger bond like when we were younger. I looked forward to the times when we used to do things together, and we're getting older, and there's just you and I.
What does it feel like to hear that, to have someone talk that way?
What I feel is, I feel your pain, your frustration, your sadness.
How does it feel to have your brother respond to you this way? Take in that much of what you said. How does that feel?
It feels good. I feel sad, though.
Yeah.
Mickey asked the group to respond to the role play.
I have to say, when he first went up there and he said, you are a drug addict, you, at first I thought, I don't blame his brother for not wanting to talk to him. I didn't, because you do this, you do that, and it was like, no wonder he doesn't talk to his brother. His brother wants nothing to do with him, is what I thought, at first. But when you got into how you felt, why it made you sad, how, what was going on with you and why you wanted that relationship, I could feel it. It brought me to tears when you were telling your brother how sad you felt that you guys didn't have a relationship.
You know, right now, when you did that by saying you, I felt like, you know, like you were crucifying your brother. You know, and I relate to that because that's what I did. When you turn that around and start saying I, you actually let your brother know how you felt. It's like, wow, you know, now I know how you feel, bro.
When we start by saying you, the other person feels blamed. We provoke anger. When we start with I, we say what we want or feel. No one is blamed. We cool things down.
I think when you talk from the I form, you get more in touch with the emotion and with yourself and your feelings, and you're not projecting aggression, and you're not leaving that person open to defend themselves and say something back to you that's going to hurt your feelings, and then you're going to get into a fight. By saying I, you're getting in touch with your emotion, and you're letting the other person have opportunity to claim their own and say, you know what? Now, when you were saying that, every one of us in this room were saying, I feel you. I understand.
The you is more like an accusation. You're criticizing and you're putting blame and you're trying to make a justification but blaming the other person that you're talking to. And when you're speaking from an I perspective, it's more or less of the way I feel and the way I hurt. So there's no defense for that. It's just you have to just sink that in, accept it.
The group agreed. When we tell others how we feel, there's no blame, nothing to argue with, no reason to get angry.
Accept that. Nobody can argue your feelings.
James comes in to summarize.
When it comes to being assertive, it's different from being aggressive. With the assertiveness, all I need to do is to talk from the I place. So when you can come from that place, you take the power away from anger when you don't react to it.
Starting with you turns up the heat. Starting with I cools it down. How does that work in your life? As the workshop ends, James has some final thoughts about the practical skills we can use to manage our anger.
Now I have some skills. I have some tools that I can use whereby I can take anger and take the power and control it has over me away by not acting on it. See, when you don't act on your anger, you take away its power. It takes courage to do that. It takes courage to have somebody cross the line, and then you just have to sit there and say, okay, I got a choice. I got a choice now. And I can make a choice right at this moment because I'm feeling it and I know how to notice it now. Now I know that there's things that I can do. And if we apply this stuff, it will change your entire life. When I take responsibility, when I know that this whole walk is about me growing, and I take what comes before me as an opportunity to learn about myself, I'm on my way.